combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we are here live with another episode of Jimmy Rants. If you're brand new to this show, it is a show I started a couple weeks ago. Wanted to come on and talk about various topics in the world of health as it relates to your nutrition. I have written books about nutritional health and have gained a lot of wisdom over the years talking about these topics, and sometimes it gets the wheels turning, and so we like to address a lot of those things here that you might not hear anywhere else. Go to JimmyRants.com. You can access the videos there. We're putting them all on YouTube. We're also coming up with a Jimmy Rants Best of Moments podcast. Look for that coming real soon. And we also are here live on my Instagram channel, Instagram Live at Livin' Low Carb Man. If you want to watch these live, I do them twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon Eastern time. And then you can watch for 24 hours on the replay. But if you want to interact with me, somebody on YouTube the other day said, I don't see anybody commenting and you're talking to all these people. That's because you're watching on YouTube and I'm doing this on Instagram Live. So, housekeeping out of the way. Now let's get down to business. Today's Jimmy Rants is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit over the past few years. And it's always tragic when you hear about a school shooting or you hear about a church being shot up like what happened in Pittsburgh. It's just sad when you hear about all of this criminal mischief that's going on. And even in the day-to-day, people that rob banks, people that do really bad stuff, we oftentimes in our culture just say, wow, what a bad human being. What a horrible person to be able to do that kind of thing. And Christine and I watched this TV show, and it's been on the air for many years now, called Criminal Minds. And the same thing, you watch these people that do really, really bad stuff, and we all chalk it up to, oh, look what a bad person that person is. I want to give another take because I think we have neglected some of the things that could help people like that have that mentality. Now, that's not to say there aren't bad people in the world. There's some really bad people in the world. But I wonder how much of their behavior is impacted directly by the nutritional choices that they make. So stick with me here. Your brain is made up of 70% fat. So when you choose and are even encouraged to lower your fat intake in your diet, is it any wonder why people may have brains that get miswired and don't operate properly? Is it any wonder why you have mood changes? Remember all the crankiness when you've done low-fat diets? Those of you that do keto now, like I do, you used to be cranky. I know I was. Christine will tell you, I was not a very nice guy when I was eating a low-fat diet because my brain was screaming at me, what are you doing, dude? You're killing me, Smalls. You gotta feed me fat. Well, I wasn't feeding it fat. And so when you don't eat enough fat, your brain goes wackadoodle on you. And I'm thinking that a lot of the criminal mischief that goes on is a direct result primarily of nutritional choices. People aren't getting enough fat. And the thing that really makes me most angry about it is this is the diet that the government is telling us is healthy, that doctors are telling us is healthy, that dietitians are telling everybody is healthy. Oh, you need to cut the fat, you need to eat lean proteins, you need to eat this, you need to eat that. And it's all predicated on fat being a cardiovascular risk marker. Well, guess what? Cardiovascular risk, we fully debunked that. But what were the unintended consequences in this fear of cardiovascular disease, this fear of obesity, eating too much fat, all of these fears being placed on other parts of the health? What did we do to our mental health? We destroyed it. What did we do to the attention span of the kids in school? They don't have any attention span. They're disruptive in class. I almost want to beg schools to please feed kids bacon and eggs and an avocado for breakfast and then watch their scores soar. It would be amazing to watch that happen. And I think we need to start at a very early age getting people to realize that fat is where it's at for your brain health. And if you don't eat adequate amounts of fats, then your brain's going to rebel against you. And I don't think we emphasize enough about the brain health benefits of eating healthy fats. Obviously, the fats that most kids and adults alike are getting are the really bad fats. So you look at any processed food, it not only has refined grains and refined sugars, but also refined vegetable oils, which are highly, highly inflammatory. They're no bueno for you. So, oh, well, that has high fat. Well, you got to look at what the fat is. And if it's butter, ghee, lard, coconut oil, on and on and on, that's a pretty decent fat. But if it's canola oil or rapeseed oil or cottonseed oil or soybean oil, which is commonplace in a lot of packaged foods, those aren't good for you. So back to my original question. Could a low-fat diet be the causal factor in criminal mischief? I don't think there's any doubt. Now, that's not to say there aren't some people that commit crimes that do it because they're just really bad people. Maybe they have a genetic tendency towards that with some of the chemical wiring in their brain. But think about how we talk about obesity and chronic disease. We always talk about, oh, there's some genetic factors at play, right? And there are. But there's also this thing called epigenetics, where you can tell your genes how do they express themselves through the nutritional and lifestyle choices that you make. And we talk about that within the context of insulin resistance and obesity and chronic disease. Why don't we talk about that with brain health? Why don't we talk about that with mental ability, mental capacity? It's astounding to me with what we know about the powerful therapeutic effects of having adequate fat, especially when combined with a low carb intake. And by carb, I mean most of the crappy garbage that I refer to, not green leafy vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, but the truly crap. And I don't need to define what crappy garbage is. Most people, when I say that phrase, and I've been saying it for years, they know what I'm talking about. And so reduce the crappy garbage, increase the fat, make the fats the good kind of fats, get quality protein sources, and your brain will scream happiness. And it will prevent a lot of this criminal mischief that I think happens because people are angry, because their brains are screaming at them to feed them more fat. The sooner we understand that and recognize it, and I'm surprised some of the psychiatrists and psychology groups out there haven't really underscored this. But again, just like our medical system, MDs don't understand nutrition. I don't think a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists understand the value of having certain things happen in the nutrition of people that are dealing with bipolar or other issues that are it just makes their brain go haywire. We got to put fat back in our diet to make our brains happy and healthy. All right, let me see what you guys have to say. Thank you for being here. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about this. Oh, I guess I summarized it well because nobody has a comment about this. I guess you enjoyed me ranting about it, but this is weighed heavily on my heart, you guys, because I'm seeing it far too often that we're labeling people bad people. We're giving them medications which merely covers up the side effects that come from bad nutrition. If we just fed people real food again, real food-based fats, so it wouldn't take much of butter, coconut oil, lard, full-fat meats and cheeses. The list could go on and on of all the healthy fats, avocado oil, olive oil, all of these fats would be nourishing. And when we talk about nourishing the body, people, oh, you're getting your chronic disease under control and weight under control. You're healing your insulin resistance. You're doing all these things. I think we need to remember the brain health benefits. As I said earlier, when I did a low-fat diet and have done low-fat diets in the past, I was not a very nice guy. And a lot of that was my brain was screaming for fat. You need the fat. That's how you stabilize your mood. And since I went keto, I'm a pretty chill cat most of the time because of keto. And it's so devalued brain health because everybody obsesses about weight loss. Everybody's worried about their cardiovascular health. Maybe they're worried about cancer. I think the last on the list that everybody has is brain health. But to me, I want this noggin to be full on and fully nourished every single day until the day I die. Because you have no brain, you really lose everything about who and what you are. You know, you could lose a toe and still function and be the person you are. You could even have other issues going on, but if you lose your brain, you're no longer you. And so that's what I wanted to share about that. Kazan Chick says, my kids have a high-fat yogurt smoothie with MCT, our powered, MCT oil powered for brain power. Awesome. I love that. You see, you're a good mom. That's why. And I bet they perform at a very high level at school. I don't know what age they are, but kids who eat fat, I don't think they necessarily need to be keto, but I think kids who have healthy fats and real whole foods for the most part, they are going to be the ones that excel. Now, I don't know how I excelled academically so well in as I was growing up and going into college. I was always the nerd because I did not eat well. A lot of that was probably genetics, and how much further along, how much could I have excelled even more had I been nourishing my brain properly? I guess we'll never know, but better late than never. I love good fat, Tim says. Yes, good healthy fats are amazing. T. West Hughes says, change my son's diet. It has helped with his ADHD. Yeah, when I wrote the book Keto Clarity, we were talking about like what we know strongly that a ketogenic diet helps with, things that are emerging as new areas of research, and then things we have pretty good evidence, and the ADHD was what we had pretty good evidence for. There's certainly no downside if you have some sort of brain health issue, a mood disorder, some of these people that are committing crimes. I would love it. How cool would it be if the prison system adopted a ketogenic lifestyle for the prisoners? They're kind of stuck with what you feed them, right? And so how cool would it be to do a study where they take one prison and they put all of the prisoners for a period of time on basically a ketogenic diet? They wouldn't know. They'd be none the wiser about what's going on because they're going to have to eat whatever is served to them. And of course, you'd need funding because I think they get a very bare minimum budget for food. But give them a little boost in the budget. Let them get some quality food. Let them have a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet. Would you want to see that study? I think that would be fascinating. And then to see if the rates and the incidences of, prison fights and other disturbances, if anything would happen, if you'd see an increase in the ones interested in wanting to, broaden their skills and read books and try to learn a trade so that when they get out of prison, they would be ready to be productive members of society. I would love to see that study. That's pretty cool. Yes, high school, middle school, math teacher reached out and said she noticed an improvement in attention. Oh, that's great. So Kazan Chick talked earlier about feeding their kid the smoothie with the MCT in it. And yes, I'm loving that the math teacher said, whoa, is he on a drug? Or what did you do? Oh, I just fed him MCT oil powder. It's awesome. I actually have a psychiatrist, physician friend. She was on the Live and La Vida Low Carb show yesterday because she was on our low carb cruise earlier this year. Her name's Dr. Ann Childers, and she was telling me a story about how she has teachers calling her all the time going, whoa, whatever dose of medication you've put the child on, it's working. And she said, oh, so they're enjoying the pill of bacon and eggs for breakfast? So she's like, the dead silence on the other end of the call is always fun for her. All right. Lou Jean Johnson says, I've always thought that's true as an RN. I've said this since I graduated in 1979. Yeah, I honestly believe, and I've said this in a few interviews, and it catches people's attention. Oh my gosh, how can you say criminal action is directly tied to diet in any way? Think about it though. Your brain isn't running at optimal level. What's going to happen? You're going to act out. You're going to have mood issues. You're going to just get angry. Christine will tell you, I see she popped on here. Christine will tell you that I was one of the angriest people when I was eating basically a no-fat diet, especially in 1999, where I lost a lot of weight on a low-fat diet. But I was just an angry man all the time. And I could never figure out, why am I always so uptight and angry? And that was why. My brain was screaming at me for fat. And speaking of Christine, Music Girl 1972, go follow her. Crazy question, when you get home, will you help me wash my hair? Of course. Of course, of course. She's still going through physical therapy and all that with her shoulder. So she actually starts physical therapy today. So yes, dear, I will take care of you. All righty. Did you know anything, or do you know anything about the new Slim Fast keto products, Barbie Sparks? Yes, we talked about this about 2 months ago on Keto Talk. I was the first one to hear about it and start sharing about it. Everybody else is now sharing about it, but I shared about it on Keto Talk. And you have to know, guys, these companies are coming at keto with dollar signs in their eyeballs. Much more so than they did with paleo or really any movement since the Atkins diet took off. This is all pure money grab. So please be careful. Don't buy into just because something is labeled keto and slap it on the front cover of their product, we're suddenly keto. Be wise consumers. I say don't support those companies. They're a part of the problem. If they cared about keto, they would have had keto stuff long before now. They've got it now because they can make money. Don't fall for it. Try to get those companies that are smaller, that are making good quality products. If you want a lot of the same products that the Slim Fast company has made that are keto, there's 2 companies I'm going to recommend to you. You can go to Perfect Keto, perfectketo.com, or Kiss My Keto, kissmyketo.com. Those are the 2 that make very similar products to these ones from Slim Fast. Don't fall for the marketing gimmicks. Yes, they have the infrastructure to get it out there and market it, but no, don't fall for it. It's no. Don't do that. Shelly Air says, love your books. Thank you. All right, guys, it looks like you are out of questions about the question at hand here on the Jimmy Rants. So we're going to end this episode of Jimmy Rants. Could a low-fat diet be the causal factor in criminal mischief? I say absolutely. Often fat makes my stomach ache. I guess there's an optimal amount to keep you satiated but not sick feeling. Lisa, yeah. And you have to kind of tinker and test with it. And I would try a mix of fats. Christine and I, in our new book, Real Food Keto, we talk about making sure that 60% of your diet is made up of the monounsaturated fats, and then 30% made up of the saturated fats, and then 10% of the quality polyunsaturated fats, which you can get from nuts and seeds and the oils that are in the really, really dark bottles and say cold pressed. If you get all of those things, then you get the quality fats. And if criminals were made to eat those kinds of fats, especially within the context of a low-carb diet, man, Johnny bar the door, we would all be happy people. I don't think crime would be near as much. You know what? I'm going to challenge some mayor of a town. I'm going to challenge really anybody that has control over dietary choices or basically a mouthpiece in some city, in some office building, at a prison, some church, you name it. If you're watching this, I challenge you to put out the word to try to eat more healthy fats. And if you eat more healthy fats, and especially if you do it within the context of a lower carbohydrate intake, mainly from vegetables, I want to hear about it. I want to hear if you're able to see improvements in any way. I can't help but believe there would be massive, massive improvements. How cool would it be? Web Debbie says, I think low fat is the cause for most psychological and mental health issues, including autism. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying here. Although I was focusing on the criminal activity, you're right. Autism is another one that I think if we can feed our kids early enough, you could probably prevent a lot of that stuff. I realized finally what was causing my mood swings and depression and hypoglycemia. I feel so much better mentally and physically. And Lugene, thank you for bringing up hypoglycemia. I think that's a big factor here as well, because when your blood sugar drops, your brain is in desperation for fuel. And so if you're a sugar burner and you're not feeding it, and you just become this angry beast suddenly, I think that's when criminal activity takes place. So I know this might have been a little bit controversial here today, but I stand by it. I think fat is where it's at. We would eliminate and lower crime rates if we just simply got people to eat more fats. All right, guys, that's it for this Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com for the access to all of these videos. If you've missed any of my other rants, go to jimmyrants.com. We've got them all listed there on YouTube. Coming soon, we'll have snippets of podcasts from these Jimmy Rants episodes that I'm doing. If you want to watch live, go over to Instagram. Follow me. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man. I do this once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and then you can watch it on the replay for 24 hours on Instagram. And then, forever and ever amen on YouTube at jimmyrants.com. All right, guys, until next time, we'll see you then.